So in this video, we will be astrologically taking a look at the value of Ethereum. And so right here in front of us, we have this chart. This is the natal chart for Ethereum, block 0 of Ethereum. So that's the first transaction or the first block that was mined. Now, as we can tell, the location I have is www. That's just World Wide Web. And so I felt like this was the proper location to put, which is the center of the earth, 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east coordinates, because it's a worldwide event. And the first block being mined is like basically the first transaction, and that's when Ethereum started. So by looking at this chart, we'll be able to break down its value and its investment value as well. So its value and then its value as an investment. That's going to be the focus of this video. And if you guys know the statement or the quote, millionaires don't study astrology, billionaires do. And that's very true. And that's really what this is all about. Me looking at the coins was just, it really started for me just wanting to get ahead of the market, which I already, I had a lot of information, a lot of stuff like that, but I wanted to see if astrology could be used to look at coins. And I was really shocked with the Bitcoin and how accurate it was. Just putting the first Bitcoin transaction, basically when it went online, and looking at the planets that were around, and it really gave me a very accurate insight. So that's why I wanted to also do it with Ethereum and the same thing. With that being said, when we want to look at the value of a coin, we want to look at Venus, the planet of material value, beauty, possessions, resources. And as we can tell, we have Venus in the 9th house, and it's in Virgo. Virgo would indicate repetition or exchanges and like transactions and data information. So the reason why I say transaction is because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is about exchange. So unlike Bitcoin, the value of Ethereum is not necessarily inherent. The value of Ethereum is in its usage. Virgo is about tasks and movement and work. So it's funny though that also Ethereum is a proof of work coin, but it's going into proof of stake. That's just a technical aspect of it. Proof of work just means that people can mine it on their computers. So its value does come from that aspect as well, but generally speaking, the value of Ethereum is in its usage. So what I will say is that the more this coin gets used, which we'll talk about how it will, looking at the astrology, the more and more and more valuable it can get. Because as we can tell, the ascendant is in Sagittarius at 29 degrees, the maximum degree of Sagittarius. And so essentially, okay, Ethereum was, the first transaction was July 30th at 3:26 p.m. UTC. And this Sagittarius was the constellation that was rising. That's what the ascendant is. It's the point that's rising at the horizon. So when you have the sun at the ascendant, that means the sun is rising. So anyways, Sagittarius is the sign of expansion, is the sign of unlimited growth, unlimited possibilities, and is the sign of luck and blessings. It's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system, right? And just another meaning of Sagittarius is excess. So size, large. And so the ascendant really shows us the identity of something or of a person, but in this case, it's a coin. So really, this was a very shocking thing for me to see. 29 degrees Sagittarius is very benefic. This is extreme expansion. So the ruler, anyways, the ruler of the ascendant is Jupiter. And where is Jupiter? Jupiter is conjunct to Venus. Venus, the planet of value. So anyways, those of you guys that are astrologers or know astrology can confirm what I'm talking about. And you guys can also look up the meanings of planets and do your own astrology. And learn also your own chart. The most important thing is to know thyself. Not to just know coins or know external events. But with that being said, oops, I clicked on the aspects. Ethereum just has inherent value to it, as we can tell. And especially though, what I see is, like I was saying, as a coin, its value comes from its usage. Because not only is Venus in Virgo, but Venus is retrograde. So we see that dash above Venus, and retrogrades indicate something being unconventional or like being restricted, or like being having to do things in a roundabout way. So its value is very different than Bitcoin. Its value is not inherent. Venus would indicate inherent value. But when Venus is retrograde, this shows somebody that whose value comes from their will and their actions, rather than just having inherent value. Now, Venus also is about love in astrology. So like somebody that's Venus retrograde, their love style is more impulsive, and they're more aggressive, and they go after things, especially for like a feminine person or a female. They will have a more aggressive love style than normal, and that's because Venus is retrograde. So they're impatient. They don't like to wait for things to come to them. So anyways, in the sense of astrology and of this coin, the value is not inherent within Ethereum. At least the total value. Like the real actual value is when Ethereum is doing something. That's what it means, because Venus is retrograde. Venus likes to sit still and have things come to her. But when she's retrograde, she's impatient. She doesn't feel like she has value. And her value comes from her own actions. So Ethereum's value comes from its activity. Virgo is about routine, repetition, information, data, transactions, repetition. So lots of transactions. Now, with that being said, we have Venus in the 9th house. The 9th house is the house associated with Sagittarius, and it's about excess and infinite potential. So this coin has an infinite potential for expansion in value. It's just priceless. You can't put a price. The price that you see on the sites, it's not an accurate representation of its value as a coin in the long term. Now, with that being said, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter. So it has a lot of inherent value, especially in its usage, especially as they add more, I guess, as they come out with new updates for the code, and they speed up the transaction times, and they lower the fees. So that leads me to the next point, which is something that surprised me, but that was revealing, is how many planets Ethereum has in Leo. So Leo, that's the sign of pleasure and just having value to others, but it's about gambling, games, just things that are fun. It rules children in astrology. And so that's why it can show things like games. It can show sports as well. So with the Leo stellium, part of Ethereum's personality is that it's a very fun coin. And its usage will be mainly probably for fun things. So now, I don't like to talk about the future. I like to talk about what's right now. So as a coin, Ethereum right now is what's used to buy things like NFTs. And, it's also being used as like the base coin, because there's layer 2 coins and stuff that run on top of Ethereum, but is used to develop certain games right now, blockchain games. And it's really, those kind of things are really in the early stages. But what really stood out to me is the aspect of NFTs and how you gamble to buy an NFT and you don't know what it's going to come out looking like. And depending on what NFT you get, it can have a lot of value. And just in general, NFTs are just a fun space. It's about art, and Leo is a sign that's about creativity. And so a lot of Ethereum's personality, it has a lot of that fun, playful aspect to itself, and that really is telling about the coin. Like pleasure and fun is what gives it a lot of its identity, or how it will be used. Now, so we covered kind of just the value of Ethereum, and also, just an interesting aspect, which is that Leo stellium. A stellium means multiple planets. And this is very different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not have any Leo planets. It only has the south node, which is not a planet. Bitcoin has a Capricorn stellium. So what that means about Bitcoin is it's very reputable, and it's an authority in its space. Is going to be used as a reputable coin. It's gonna be a government coin, not owned by the government, but like, as in a lot of things are going to be built around the value of Bitcoin in that sense, in the Capricorn sense. That's what Capricorn really means. And just speaking about the present, a lot of crypto is really based around the value of Bitcoin, at least on the retail end of things. So every crypto site, the main coin that needs to be able to be listed is Bitcoin, and then there's a few other coins, at least in very mainstream crypto exchanges, I guess, or gateways. So for example, like PayPal, the first thing they add is Bitcoin, and then they added other coins, Litecoin, and then definitely Ethereum. But essentially, Bitcoin is the center and it's the authority. That's what the Capricorn stellium showed me. It's a very reputable coin, whether or not it is an authority forever. Now, the next thing we were going to cover in the Ethereum chart is the value of it as an investment. So something that you hold. We talked about its inherent value, which is Venus, but the value for investments, the planet I would look at is the moon. The moon shows us things that we hold long term, and it shows investments. So with the moon being in Capricorn, Ethereum is quite a reputable coin, and it's a reputable form of investment. So like, it's something that if it's held, like, people know about it and people understand its value. It's a pretty well-known project. At least that's how it is at this moment, right? We don't know the future. We don't know if it's going to get overshadowed. But as an investment, it is known at this current moment within the crypto space. Now, since the moon is in the second house, which is the house of resources, the house of, I guess, stability as well, and finances, the house of money as well. The second house rules money, and the moon is conjunct the second house cusp. That means it's very strong in that house. And so this indicates, Ethereum is a fairly good investment. The only thing is, though, with a fairly good investment to hold. The only thing is, with the moon being in Capricorn, it's really in the opposite sign than where the moon feels comfortable. The moon rules Cancer. So when it's in Capricorn, this is a challenging placement, at least in a natal chart for somebody. But what it means, though, is that, or at least in this context, how I can really tie it all together is Ethereum's value really comes from its usage, If one day nobody used Ethereum and you can no longer buy NFTs with it, which I doubt that's going to happen, or you can no longer play games, or like let's say another coin overpasses it in that sector, which we always got to keep in mind. That's a possibility. But right now it's the king of that section. So right now it's not even close. But if something ever like disrupted that and became the new centerpiece, then this would affect the value of Ethereum as an investment. So maybe not something you would want to be holding ideally to get the best return. In that situation, if something was passing it. Now, though generally speaking, with the moon in Capricorn and all this other stuff we see going on, as long as it's being used, that's what gives it its value. Unlike Bitcoin, which just has inherent value. In fact, the Venus in the Bitcoin chart is a direct opposite to the Venus. It's directly opposing the Venus in Ethereum's chart. Venus in Virgo is the opposite of Pisces, and Bitcoin has Venus in Pisces. So, with that being said, so yeah, this is an uncomfortable thing for an investment for the moon to be in Capricorn. This means that it really has to work hard in order to essentially be valued. But of course, it's a program, so it's a code. So what this really signals to me is that as long as it's being used, that's where its inherent value is from, and its value is unlimited. There's unlimited potential. It's a very fun coin. It's used for the fun sector of things, because we have that Leo stellium. But yeah, I think I basically covered what I wanted to in this video. I hope this was interesting and insightful, and that it helps you come to a decision or a conclusion about Ethereum as a project or as a coin or something that interests you, or that you were thinking about, at least as an investment or whatever. This is not financial advice. This is just an astrological breakdown. And of course, the value as well, and the value as an investment. So anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys supporting the channel in any way that you do. And I'll see you guys sometime soon in another post or video.